Good evening, good morning, and g'day to the world. This is Aussie Botcast back at you for another week, and we are continuing our mission, our striving to really get some of the best guests that we can, bring them not only to our fans in the Southern Hemisphere, but to the world. And tonight is no exception. We have a stellar guest with some great stories that we're going to bring up. We have Mr. Todd Douglas Bailey. Say good day, Todd. Oh, and we lost his audio.
Yeah, I'm on.
You know, you're the professional here, Todd. We're kind of relying on you to help us get it.
You're gonna make us look good.
Difficulty.
Yes, let's go. Welcome back, Spartan. Good to have you, mate. Today I'm running a light panel. I don't know what happened to him. The staying power of my panel is faded a little bit, but I do have two of the best here. I have Stelios, Mr. Nefarious Clockwork. Say good day, Stel.
I'm muted. I'm not seeing myself on the screen. Am I there?
You're here. Yeah. No. Are you? You're here both like physically, metaphorically.
Yeah. I think you've still got Todd up on the main screen.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. His beautiful smiley face.
That might be me. That might be me. Is that
there we
better?
go. Yeah.
That doesn't excuse your
professionals.
music,
Yeah.
That's not my problem. That's still you.
Oh.
How are you going, Stelios? Now that you can
I'm
see yourself.
doing well now that I have my voice back. Yes.
And you can watch yourself on screen. It's very nice.
Yeah. If I can't see my face, I just can't connect with everyone. No, I'm joking.
You're a terrible voice actor.
I did say with a lighter panel we'd have to rely on you to talk for this week. So you're kind of on the right path. And we have Scotty, Mr. Fock Weasel is his gamer tag, but we have Scotty in the house. Welcome, Scotty.
How are we all?
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
Thanks.
No, I thought I'd use my real name just to be different.
Yeah, 100%. And have you had a haircut?
Yeah. Had my had the sides done, getting myself ready for summer. I know it's not there yet, but I might as well tidy up.
Very smooth. It's very smooth.
Gotta make myself look good for the wife.
You still got it, mate. And thank you so much to all our viewers who tune in every week. And those of you who watch us on replay, we are currently, and I don't have the graphic for this, but we have our next stretch target of subscribers. We're aiming for 150, and we're only 25 short. So we launched that just a couple of weeks ago, and we only need 25 more subscribers, and then we can give away 3 variants of issue 25 of the Transformers comic. Thank you to Rob Smith for donating, and we will send those out wherever you are. Netherlands, US, UK, New Zealand, or hopefully in Australia and save me on postage, but we will send that out to you wherever you are. And we will draw that from our subscriber pool. So before we get into today, I wanted to we don't get a lot of Transformer conventions or any in Australia. So a couple of months ago or a little while ago, I bought myself a little piece of BotCon kind of history. And I got a rock box. Would help if I said it properly. Rock box from the Realm of Collectors, Derek and the Realm of Collectors. So I told Derek when this comes in that I would resist temptation and open this up on stream. So Todd, if you bear with me for a second, I'm just going to see what kind of goodies we got in this. Hopefully I don't cut myself and bleed it, or more importantly, cut what's inside.
Excitement, huh?
Yeah, I know. I've actually got a swag of stuff that's coming. I have Skeletor, Jim Bro Skeletor that's come in. Have you seen Jim Bro Skeletor, Todd?
No, I have not.
Oh, so jealous. So jealous.
I'll have to bring a graphic up of him.
He is awesome. He is awesome. There are rumors they're going to make the business suit Skeletor too.
Well, they made the Dream Date Skeletor with Panther as a little house cat, and apparently he sold pretty furiously as well. So this is the rock box. Sorry, I don't have any fancy camera set up to do this for. And then I'm supposed to tap and scrape this, aren't I? That's what you do with these things. It's like
ASMR.
Yeah, ASMR. I'm supposed to do this. Do this. Right? All right, so first thing we got in the rock box for this year is a lanyard, a Realm of Collectors lanyard. I love a good lanyard. There you go. I don't know what collectors for, but there you go. And that's it. No, it's just a lanyard.
Huge box.
And then I have a pair of white gloves. Are these Michael Jacksons? Who knows? I have a pair of white gloves, which I never expected to get in a collector's box. So I think they serve a purpose there. Then I have a new nerd shirt, which I'm sure my wife will love. And it says, "We have friends everywhere," with, let's see that, with the Rockbox logo. Oh, no, it's a detached arm. It's a detached arm.
It looks like an arm, yeah.
See that?
Holding something.
And then on the background, boys, we
put yourself up on the main screen.
Oh, yeah.
So we can see it better.
Yeah, why didn't you tell me earlier?
Oh, you were doing so well. I didn't want it to destroy your flow.
You're doing so well. And now my confidence is crushed because now I can't work out how to do it.
Yeah, I was squinting to see the shirt. I was like,
yeah. Oh, good. I'm getting it. Now I can't work out how to do it. Wait.
Do it for others.
Oh, no, I got it.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. All right. There we go. Now I'm so we'll go back to this one. Look. Is that better?
oh, that's cool.
Way better.
Yeah. Anyone know whose arm that is?
Not a clue.
No.
Not a clue. No. But next year, boys, maybe we can get in on this action. So this is what do we got there? We got Bot versus Con YouTubers.
Nice.
Transformers Underground. We have awesome giveaways, by the way. So many of them are in the States. I've got the ERC, Transformers TF4 Orders, Agabus, and T3PK. Chicago 2026. Did you go to Chicago BotCon, Todd?
Yes, I did.
Oh, there you
And
go.
my first time meeting Derek, what a cool dude. Ended up helping him out a lot around the whole con and helping him run the panel room. It was a great time.
Yeah, nice. They put a lot of work into this. Got a little sticker. Got kind of looks like a tattoo. Kind of looks like the tattoos you put on your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got that. Oh, hang on. Did I see that? The light's a little bit. Who is that? And why are they hugging? And why are they in front of the big wall? What's going on there? What's the story there?
That's Epcot, right? In Disney?
It's a very confusing thing.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is. Oh, that's all right. Got a little pin. Got another pin. Transformers
Are they the Starscream pins?
Yeah. So I've got Transformers Underground pin. Very nice. I've got a Tier 4 Orders pin. I really enjoy the content of Tier 4 Orders, by the way. Shout out to those guys. And T3PK. And then our ERC pin as well. See, they're lacking an Aussie Botcast pin. I'll have to chip in for next year. All right, I got some spudges. But I think what the spudges and the Jackson gloves are for this little bit, which is the main component of the box. This is why we don't do unboxing videos on this channel as a standard, because it just doesn't work. Doesn't work for us.
No, we just need to practice them more, obviously. So we need to do
Yeah,
more.
I know. Well, this is true. You know what? You're right, Scotty. That's a defeatist attitude, and I don't like it. So we're gonna. Oh, come on! What more pins in here? So got the biggest granddaddy pin of all from Realm of Collectors. This thing is solid, actually.
That is cool, yeah.
Yeah, very, very solid. And then Bot versus Con. There's a little suitcase in there from Bot versus Con. You see that little suitcase? But this guy, Stark. I'm going to take him out of the camera so he's not so shiny. So
Yeah,
I believe
he looks really cool.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, but how fortuitous is it that I saved this for the episode that you're on? Like, how good is that? That is an exceptional piece of timing.
Yeah, it is.
So this is a Stark bot. And there's two variants of these, I believe. There is the pure gold, like Golden Lagoon type aspect. And then there's a classic Iron Man painting. And it says, is it better to be feared, respected? I say, is it too much for both? There you go. And I will work out how to open that shortly. But there you go. Thank you so much to Realm of Collectors for sending it out. I got a nice little discount because I was tuning into the live streams and got a nice little discount off that. And I've never owned an X-Trans bot before, so it's a good one.
You're in for a treat / disappointment.
Exactly.
I know to treat it. I know how to.
It'll start out a treat, trust me, but it'll end up a little bit sad.
Yeah. But
yeah, I've seen this one. It looks lovely, though. It is a lovely coloration of that.
I'm going to be very, very careful with how I handle this bad boy. But this is the variant I was hoping for, because look at those. The thing that X-Transbots does do well is their decals, right? Like, that is a beautiful, beautiful paint job.
Yeah, their paint jobs are always lovely.
Yeah, paint jobs.
The quality is just all over the show, unfortunately, with them.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I will treat that very carefully. But that's a cool little box, and I couldn't get to BotCon, but I brought a little bit of BotCon to me. So there you go. I didn't even make it virtually or spiritually, Stelios, like you. I couldn't see myself there, so I didn't make it there. Okay. What do we got? Can you get yourself up on the main? Oh, sorry guys. Can you get yourself back up on the main screen so we can see yourself a little better? Yes. Aussie Botcast live panel at TFCon next year. You know, why not? That's what I say. Why not? Why wouldn't we be there?
Who knows why we wouldn't be there?
I don't know. I can't think of it. But thank you to the guys, and thank you for putting up with my technical mishaps and wonders. So, Todd, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have been working on this project for a while, and you have done many, many interviews. So we appreciate you coming on our little show and helping spread the word of your work to this side of the world. The first thing I kind of wanted to ask you was, and it is relating to BotCon, we were talking about this a little bit before, is how this project kind of came about for you, and why would you take on the mammoth undertaking of tracking down all these wonderful voice actors, trying to get them on camera, hear their stories and get their interviews, and really launch a project like this? Like, what was the catalyst for it?
If you want, first, while we're talking about BotCon, I can show you the exclusive that I picked up there.
Yes,
So
please. Give us some eye candy. I will absolutely and positively get you up on screen very quickly.
So again, it's X-Trans bots. So like my man said there, you'll love it and then you get frustrated. But this
Yeah,
And-
I've seen that. That looks lovely. It really does.
Yeah.
The transformation's going to be a nightmare, but
Oh, dude, it is the transformation is awful,
yeah.
but it looks great once you get.
Yeah, of
past
course it would. They always do. It's just getting them between the two things.
So, what this is the Abaddon. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's their Galvatron. They're molded Galvatron, but this is the exclusive is it's so cool. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I gotta have it.
Yeah, nice.
And Megatron's Deco.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he had the crushed crown from Starscream.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
He's hefty.
It's lovely.
The color is amazing. Like I'm so glad I got him. He's so good. And look how clean that back is. Like hardly any kibble.
Oh,
Yeah. Very, very nice.
They always are good at hiding stuff. It's just getting the stuff to hide properly that makes it hard. But you always look at the finished product and go, that's amazing. What wizardry's going on here?
That's one of the exclusive pins. It's a Starscream.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then this Matrix.
Beautiful. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is intricate as hell.
So with the movie, the way it came about, I can give you the whole story behind it because it's actually emotional for some people, and I don't mind telling it. I love telling it actually. So my son is 10 years old. Like I said, I'm 47, so I've been with Transformers since the very, very, very beginning. When the cartoon first came out in 84, I guess it was. So introducing my kid to it, it's been a process, and he's kind of taken to it. And it was Rescue Bots that really got him into it. And then once he discovered Rescue Bots, it kind of went on from there, and he learned all about the G1 stuff. And he's to the point now where he can basically recite 80% of the 86 movie, like verbatim. So I think I'm doing a good job as a dad.
Oh, yes, definitely.
A lot of people agree with you.
I took him to what was my first TF Con in Baltimore a couple years ago, and we were going to meet Peter Cullen, and something happened where he ended up canceling. I don't know if he got sick or whatever, but when he canceled that, he had stopped going to cons for like almost like a year and a half or something like that. So when I found out he was coming back was at TF Con LA this past year. So I looked at my wife and I was like, man, I really want to get out there. Like just to, not about the movie, because the movie wasn't even thought of yet, but I just wanted to meet Peter because, he was 84 at the time, just turned 85. And I'm like, how many opportunities are you going to get to meet this dude before, he's no longer with us? And I'm not trying to be morbid. I was just, that's fact.
Right.
So couldn't figure out how to get out there. And a friend of mine told me that he was going to be at MegaCon down in Orlando. So this was in the end of March, I think it was. So I looked at my wife and I was like, hey man, Orlando, that's a lot closer. I'm in Pennsylvania. So we're on the same coast. I don't know if you guys are familiar with geography here, but we're on the same coast. It's just a 16-hour, 17-hour drive for me to get down to Orlando, Florida. So I looked at my wife and I was like, I think I'm going to go. And she said, no, we're all going to go. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So within a week's time, we bought our tickets, bought the passes to meet them and the photo pass and everything. And we left Pennsylvania 2:30 in the morning on a Thursday, like early Thursday morning. Drove straight down there, got down there Thursday night. Friday, MegaCon started. We went, we met them, and then headed back on Sunday. So when I met them, and you guys can check out my YouTube channel, TF Berserker, I put up a video of the whole experience of my son meeting Peter Cullen and me meeting Peter Cullen. And it was a surreal experience. And basically what happened was when we did the double photo op with Peter and Frank, and Frank's an amazing human being. That dude, if you get a chance to meet him, he is so cool. But we go to get in line to meet them, and they got them in the same room, and you pose with them. I got the picture here. I can show you while I'm talking about it. So that's me and the fam with Peter and Frank.
Nice.
There you go. Try to get the. So as we meet them, you can see my son's right there with Peter, and I'm there with him. And when we reached them, and right when we're about to take the photo, Peter grabs my son by the shoulder and says, "Let's roll out," as out the front. And my son lost it. Like he's like, oh my god, it's out this prime. Like he starts losing it, and then I start losing it, seeing him lose it, and then this is what caught me off guard. Peter starts to lose it a little bit. Like I can see his eyes welling up. Like he was legit emotionally had an emotional reaction to my reaction to my son. So that was the first time, and I know this is weird to say, but that was the first time I viewed him as a human being and not just this great voice or this actor or a celebrity that I never seen. You know what I mean? So like that's what kind of got the idea rolling in my head about them being here and like seeing them as human beings. So Sunday we're driving back home. It's 2:30 in the morning. We left again, had to get back so I can get back to work on Monday. And I'm driving, my kids are sleeping in the back, wife is asleep next to me. And I'm like, Todd, you are a filmmaker. Like you've worked in television for 20, 22 years. Like you should do something with these guys. Like do something. So I started thinking about this documentary idea, More Than Meets the Voice. And basically what I tell people is it's not a Transformers movie. It's about the human beings and the actors and their struggles to reach the pinnacle of their career where they are, how they breathe life into these characters, and what something that they don't ask a lot is not so much what they gave us as fans, but what has the fans and the franchise given them, and how's it affected their own lives. So that's kind of how the whole story came about. And as I was driving, my wife wakes up and I start telling her about this idea. And it's been I have movies out there. I've made a ton of movies. Well, not a ton, but 5 or I guess in distribution right now. And I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, I think I got an idea to make this movie as we're driving back, and I'm telling her all about it. And she's like, hey, it's about time. I stopped making movies when my son was born. He's 10 years old, so I haven't done anything in 10 years. Just because, kids take up all your time. It's just the nature of the beast. And so I'm telling her about this idea and like how I want to do this. And I was like, I just don't know. Like every movie I've made, I've kind of done like, I don't want to say guerrilla style, but resources were limited. I ran a couple of successful not a Kickstarter, but an Indiegogo campaign for my last film. And that did well. And I was just like, how do I get a hold of these people to even try to attempt to get this done? So we're driving an hour later, and my wife's like, hey, I just emailed you Peter and Frank's agent. And I'm like, how the hell did you find that? And she's like, there's this thing called the internet. I don't know if you know about it. So she gave me the contact. So as soon as we came home, like I was Inception. I know you guys are familiar with that movie. I was Inception. I had this idea in my brain. I had to see it through. So I reached out to their people, and they liked the idea of it. They told me to get my ducks in a row, basically, and they'll talk. So having their agent, basically give me a soft yes. I don't want to say they said a firm yes, but it was a soft yes. I was like, well, shit, let me try to get this done. So that was the precipice of it. That's how the whole thing was born. And I was like, well, I need money to make a movie. I don't have money to make a movie. So I decided to do the Kickstarter. And in my mind, you guys are in Australia. Like I'm in the US. In my mind, there's literally tens of millions of Transformers fans. And I was like, I got to be able to find 5,000 people to give me $10. Like at least 5,000 fans are going to want to see this movie. And launched the campaign. It went 30 days, and then I got an extension on it, so it ended up actually going 37 days, and it failed. And that's okay. That live and learn. I think the reason why it failed though is because 2 reasons. One being people didn't know me, so why would they trust me with their money? Which I totally understand. I was fresh to the YouTube world. People didn't know my film accolades, and I am an Emmy winner, and I got multiple film awards for independent film and everything. So just people didn't know me, so like public trust was very, very, very low. And I also didn't have any stars signed that I could announce. None of the voice actors were announced. And it wasn't until I think it was like day 24 of the campaign or 25, somewhere around there, where I was reaching out to all these people, and finally Vince DiCola got back to me and his agent, Peter Hackman, and they were like, Todd, this is a great idea. Let us call. We set up a call and everything. So I talked to them, and they were the first team that signed on. Like Vince DiCola was the first one I signed, and I reached out. A lot of people are asked too about why I reached out to Vince, because he's not a voice actor, so to speak. But I said, my answer to that is can you imagine the 86 movie with anybody else's music behind it? Like, I mean, Vince's music became a character in that movie. You know, when Prime dies. Spoiler alert: Prime dies. I can't imagine anybody else.
Or does he? Because we got that Easter egg.
Yes.
So once he signed on, then the dominoes just started falling. Sorry, the odds were in my favor. You know, Greg Berger signed on, and next thing I know, this was here's a good story for you guys. Like, so as all this is going on, you know, I'm still, you know, working my day job, and I got you know, regular family life and everything like that. And this one random weekend night, I come down into my basement where I am now, and I'm getting ready to switch over some laundry. Trust me, there's a reason why I'm telling you a story. And I hear this dripping, like, drip, drip, drip. I'm like, what the hell is that? So I look into my office, which is why I'm in my, this is what I call my theater room, like where I watch TV and stuff. But my office is where I do my work. And I look in the office, and there's a pipe that burst in my ceiling, and all this water is coming out of my pipe. I mean, it was a disaster. Like, we're still working on that room, trying to get it fixed. But long story short, I was bummed out. Like, I see this huge hole in my ceiling, like I'm freaking out. And I, you know, me and the wife's just like, well, we'll deal with that later. We're waiting for the emergency plumber to come, and, you know, we shut off all the water and all that stuff. And all of a sudden I get this friggin' this call. I mean, mind you, it's like 11:30 at night. Like, this type of stuff always happens at night. It's like 11:30 at night, and my phone starts ringing. I'm looking at this number. I'm like, who the hell is this? Usually I don't answer numbers that I don't know. Like, if I don't know the number, I, you know, click. But, you know, because of what I'm doing and the people I'm trying to contact, I just answered the call and I answered. He goes, Todd, this is John Machida. How are you? And I'm like, oh, this is John Machida on the phone. And that call couldn't have come at a better time. Like, being bummed out, you know, everything like that. And John's like, hey, you know, and I was messaging him on Facebook and everything. And he's like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you on Facebook. I don't, you know, get on it very often, but I love this idea. Let's do it. Let's what can I do to help? And I'm like, dude, can you send me a video? And then he sends me the blur video, you know, to push the Kickstarter. So I ended up talking with him for like an hour that night while we're waiting for the plumber to come. And he was like the nicest dude, like, didn't know me from a can of chew spit, and was willing to trust me with his story. Like, that was amazing to me. So he's been gung-ho about it. Greg Berger has been you know, Grimlock has been gung-ho about it. And Michael Bell, totally into it. Vince Nicola, totally into it. And every time I get another celebrity to come on, once I tell them what it is I'm trying to do, they're like, let's do this. And I'm fully planning to compensate these people. You know, obviously that's what you do. But to their credit, none of them have asked me for money. Like, none of them has said, hey, I'll do it for this fee. You know, so it's been great. And speaking of BotCon, I was just there, you know, the one in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and that's where I met up with John Machida. That was why I was there. Actually, I was there to help. If you guys want to check out Toy Spotlight on YouTube, Captain Kyle, he does a great YouTube show. I reached out to him because that was kind of my strategy for the first Kickstarter, was to try to find influencers to help me reach the Transformers audience. You know, so I reached out to a whole bunch of them, a whole bunch of YouTubers who, again, when I tell them the idea of the film, they're like, this is great. How can I help? Similar to what you fine gentlemen are doing right now. So I hooked up with him. I hooked up with Patriot Prime, Toys R Us over in England, just a whole lot of people. And they've been trying to help me, you know, Derek from BotCon, they've been trying to help me do this thing. So with Captain Kyle, he invited me along to accompany him up in BotCon to help him with the panels and stuff like that. And that's how I ended up in BotCon, was through my relationship with Captain Kyle, who I met through trying to do this movie. So when I told John Machida that I was going to be there, he was like, hey, let's take advantage of it, and let's do the interview there. And I'm like, that sounds good to me. Let's do it. So I don't have any of my equipment. I sold all my filmmaking equipment when I had my kid, because, you know, you need money when you have a kid and everything. But Captain Kyle was like, hey, I filmed these panels. I got my camera. Let's go up there and do it. So big thanks to him for helping me do this. So I went up there and helped him with BotCon, and helped Derek with BotCon. And this is the coolest part. So I'm texting with John Machida, and I'm like, hey, I see Susan's there, Susan Blue, RC. Neil Ross is there, Victor Crowley is there, who is return to Transformers, the voice of, and I was like, I've been trying to get a hold of those three since I've been trying to get a hold of you, and this was when I first met Machida there, like this. So we're face to face talking about this. Was day one of BotCon, and it was early on before they let the people in. And he goes, "Well, come on, let me introduce you to these guys." And he literally takes me down the table and introduces me to all three of them right then and there. And I tell them like what I'm trying to do, and they're like, "Let's do it. Let's do this weekend." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like, so my mind is blown that all three of them were like, "This is a really cool idea. It's something we've never been approached about." With all the panels they've done and all the the interviews and things they've done. Because I told them what I was trying to do is something different, like to show them as people and not just these talents. I'll tell you a quick story about John Machida's interview. And cut me off anytime you guys want, because I will friggin' talk, dude. Especially with this movie. And if you have any questions as I'm telling these stories, just fire away.
Same for the chat.
When I sit down with John to do his interview, Derek let me use the hall that they were doing the panels in. So I was able to get a really nice setting with them, and it was just us there. I bought my light kit. That's one thing I did have was my light kit. So very professional. Everything was top notch there. And as we sit down, I tell John, actually all of them, that's from, I tell John, if there's anything that I ask you that you don't want to answer, we can just skip it, and I'll edit it out or whatever. And he was like, Todd, I've been doing this for over 40 years. Like, there's not much you're going to be able to ask me that I'm going to not answer. Okay, go accept or challenge accepted. So we begin the interview, and within, I hope John doesn't get mad that I say this, but within I don't know, 10 minutes of the interview, I get him to crack some tears, man. Like I get him to crack some tears. And one of the questions that did it was, I asked him, just so you guys have an idea of the kind of content that I'm trying to get from these guys. I asked them, you're at the pinnacle of your career right now. Like, you've been all over the world, doing Blur and all the other characters you've done. If there's one person that helped you get here to get to this point in your career, who is that? And what would you say to them today? And he went on this really long emotional story about his dad. And his dad passed away shortly after 9/11. I don't think it had anything to do with 9/11. It was just shortly after that he lost his father. And one of the things that stood out in my mind from the interview is that he said that his dad didn't want him to be an actor. He didn't want him to pursue it at all. But he told him, keep at it, keep doing it until you get tired of chasing it. And then once you get tired of chasing it, chase it a little more and then think about doing something different. But his dad did not want him to be an actor. And I thought that was a great story, and that choked him up, and he shed some tears over that story. Like that's the stuff I'm after. And I told him, I was like, dude, that is exactly the stuff that I'm after. Like that's the story I don't think he's ever told anyone, and he told me, and it'll be in my documentary. So things like that, I got that out of Sue, I got that out of Neil and Victor. It's those are the type of questions I was answering, and like now that I have these interviews in the can. That means it's done for you non-television people. Now that I have it in the can, I have stronger content to give a proof of concept for the Kickstarter when I relaunch it in September. So I'm hoping that people will see that, because I'll probably use that bite from John where he gets teared up, and he teared up the story I just told you guys about Peter and my son, crying and us crying. I showed him the video of me there at MegaCon. And that choked him up. He was like showing real emotion to the emotion that we had. And one of the things that I did, I don't know if I caught it on camera. I think the camera got cut off though. All four of them, when I interviewed them afterwards, I said to myself, like, as I go into these interviews, I am a fan, like clearly 100% a fan, but I have to be a professional. Like that's my job to make this movie, is being a professional. So once the interview concluded, and I'm thanking him for his interview, I said, all right, John, I gotta. John, Susan, Neil, Victor, I said the same thing to all of them. I said, all right, I got to take my professional hat off now, and now I'm a fan. And I told them, I think this is something I'll express on the Kickstarter too, because this is personal for me. I grew up in Philadelphia. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Philadelphia over there, but it's a rough city. And I grew up in the 80s when, cocaine and crack and all that stuff was just flaring up. So there was plenty of opportunity growing up, middle class Philadelphia, for me to get in the riffraff. You know, I could have been a gangbanger. I could have done everything. It was Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Masters of the Universe. All that stuff kept me on this path instead of going on that path. And I told him this. And I said, you know, instead of, you know, getting into all that stuff, me and a core group of friends that I had, we sat on my stoop in the city, playing with these friggin' toys and watching these shows and loving the cartoon and loving Optimus Prime and Duke and Falcon and Lion-O. All these guys kept me on the straight and narrow. It, you know, aside from my real life family, you know, my dad, grandfather, and all that, it was these heroes that helped shape my morals to being the human being that I am. So I said to John, I was like, I'd like to thank you for that, because that's a huge part of who I am. And can I give you a hug? And he's like, he starts crying again, and he gives me this biggest, like he's like my uncle type hug, you know, like, and all of them did that. Even Susan Blue grabbed me and pulled me in. It was like this big Vic, like, because I tell them all the same story, like, because it is 100% the truth. Like, that's the deep meaning that I have for the franchise. It's not just toys or the show was great and Optimus Prime was cool. It kept me out in the streets. I mean, I know I was a kid at the time, but had I not loved those things and became a nerd, like doing that type of stuff, where else was I going to end up? Like, who? I don't know. The opportunity was there. Like, I grew up in Philly. Like, the opportunity was there to be a gangbanger. And me and my core group of friends still go to cons and collect Transformers and toys today. And I credit, you know, the Transformers, you know, all those things for doing that. So as a fan, I had to say that to them and then put the professional hat back on and start talking shop with them.
That's so cool. That's so cool. How good were the PSAs back in the 80s cartoons, right? At the end of the show, you got like He-Man talking about respect and all this sort of stuff, right? And you got the Transformers had them, G.I. Joe had them. The PSAs were actually like that little bit of extra bonus content. They're almost like the Easter egg, right? And they help tie you into that moral kind of lesson at the end. And I thought it was such a cool aspect. You don't get those anymore. Right?
You don't realize it at the time. You know, as a kid, you're watching it. It worked. You know, as an adult looking back on it, dude, it worked. Like it was great stuff. It really worked.
Yeah, and look, if it helps endear those shows that were causing a bit of a ruckus in amongst the parents those days to help persuade them that these shows were of good values, dude, all for it. It was just phenomenal. I've got a question here from Spartan, Todrin, and he wants to know: did you ask Machida about his speed talking world record by chance?
I did, and that actually came up on that panel too. They talked about it a little bit. So I don't think he holds the record anymore, but in his mind he does, because I guess the guy that beat him, it was something weird about how he did it, or like the length of time that he was talking, that Machida was like, that's not the real record. He's like, I got this stuff. Yeah. And that was cool to see. At BotCon, they did a script reading with all four of them. I think it was an original script that maybe it was the Realm of Collectors that wrote it. Somebody wrote it, and they did an original script, like a little performance during their panel. And when the room was packed, I mean, the room was completely full. When Machida goes into Blur, everybody just erupted, dude. It was the coolest thing to see, like to see him do that live in that form, like all of them, you know, like because Susan Blue did her RC, you know, Neil did his Springer, like to see them all. But when when Blur comes in, like, because it's most of them are just their voice or an exaggeration of their own voice or whatever. But Machida, you know, he doesn't talk fast like in person. He just talks like a normal person. But when he gets into Blur mode, like it was great. Speaking of Blur, I'll tell you another story about the interview I did with Machida that stood out to me. I asked him about ownership of the character Blur, because there's been a lot of iterations of him, and I said, you know, how do you feel about Blur living? And one of the things, you know, like other people playing Blur, and he said no. He said, F that. I'm Blur. He said, until I'm dead, I'm Blur. and they need to come get me to be Blur because I am Blur. I was like, that's.
And even then, he'll still go, I love that.
And speaking of Blur, my son asked me to get it signed, so I had to hunt down. I have this open on my display, but I had to track down a boxed one. You can see where he signed it here for my son. So that was cool.
You are the ultimate signature collector at this stage, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, you're working for it. You're working for it. You know, you may not be standing in line, but you're definitely putting it all on the line to do this interview.
Well, my crown jewel is, I don't know if you get, I don't want to bust it out because it's behind it, but up there in my masterpiece case, I do have the More Than Meets the Eye Battle Damage Prime. If you can see it.
Oh, yes, man.
And that's what I took the BotCon, I'm not the BotCon, to MegaCon to have Peter Cullen sign it. So that's got Cullen's signature on it.
So cool. So very cool. So let's find out a little bit more about you, because we're obviously going to talk about the voice actors and their stories more, but earlier you said that one of the things is that the community doesn't know you, and that's one of the things that you think you need to do more. So let's dive a little bit more into your history and find out more about you as a person, as a professional, your history. I know you've won an Emmy, which is a TV award, and you've been nominated for 2. And I also wanted to, just before we explore into that, I just wanted to give a shout out to your lovely wife, who without this and her hunting down those email addresses in that car trip, you may never even got this far with it. So what's your wife's name?
Jessica,
amazing
she's
work.
Also my toy hacks artist.
She
does all my toy hacks for me, because these big meetings, I can't do it.
She's a woman of many talents. Of many talents, and that's an amazing encouragement. As collectors, it's lovely to have a spouse that is supportive of you. And we've talked about this before, but that is absolutely next level to encourage you to do that. So let's find out a little bit more about you, Todd. Tell us about your producer history, your film history, and what you've done in the past, and how we as a community in good faith can go. Not only has this guy got the interviews, but he's got the skills to bring this project to life. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, one thing, I've always been able to bring people together to do a common goal, so to speak. So, like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but kind of a natural born leader type of thing. So, like, anytime I need projects done, school, whatever, I was always kind of like the team leader, or whatever. But my background is I do have a bachelor's degree in broadcast communication, and I've been working in the television industry for 22 years at this point. So 22 or 23 years. Through TV news, I've done promos and news stories. I've interviewed presidents. I've interviewed celebrities. There's not much. I've interviewed tragic accidents and fires, like just a whole plethora of things. But that's the day job. I'm also an independent filmmaker, and I've been doing that for 20 years as well. And I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, about 5 films to my credit that they're all in distribution on Amazon. 2 of them are documentaries, 3 of them are fiction films. My biggest credit is probably, aside from the Emmy, when it comes to film, it's probably my Bigfoot documentary that I did. It's called Bigfoot Lives. I don't own that film. I was a hire for that. And basically that was, like I said, it was a film for hire. And I worked for a guy named Tom Biscardi to make a movie for him. And this came out in 2006. And if you guys are familiar with the Bigfoot world, Bigfoot was dead when it comes to pop culture. At that time, like, there was no kind of content out there for Bigfoot, no site, there was just nothing. And I made this film. It's kind of the approach I'm making with More Than Meets the Voices. With the Bigfoot movie, I didn't want to make a Bigfoot movie. I wanted to make a movie about the Bigfoot hunter and answer the question, why would you spend time, resources, your life hunting something that people believe to be fictional? And that was a question that had never been asked before in that world. So how that came about is I was working at a television station in upstate New York, and this Bigfoot hunter was coming through the town on this Bigfoot hunt. And he called my news station. He's asking, hey, we're coming through. Do you guys want interviews or whatever? And of course, my news station was like, this isn't news. Like, find a Bigfoot, and it'll be news. But I was intrigued by it, so I ended up tracking the guy down and asking him, just questions about what I just said, like why would you want to do this or whatever. And so it's a good story. I'll share it with you. It's a good story. So there was two different people. There was Tom and there was Tim. Let's try to keep those guys separate. It was Tom and Tim. So Tim was a local Bigfoot hunter, which I did not know about. And again, this is in upstate New York. So this is like Corning, Elmira area for people listening in the U.S. that know it. So Tim was a local Bigfoot hunter, and he was the one trying to tell us that the other Bigfoot hunter, Tom, who was from the West Coast, was coming out to investigate a sighting that Tim had. So I know it's a little confusing with the names. So anyway, I ended up doing a documentary called Man of the Mountain with Tim. And it was only an hour-long documentary, and the dude's kind of, he was
interesting.
He was interesting. Yeah, he was interesting. Good friend of mine. So I think he'll be okay if I tell people that he's an interesting guy. And he had credibility because he was a former military guy, and he was talking about the Man of the Mountain documentary was about him and why he started to hunt Bigfoot. So I made this trailer, I put it on YouTube and put it out there, and Biscardi saw that trailer and was like, I want that guy to make a movie for me. So for 2 weeks after I launched that trailer, he was trying to get a hold of me, and Tim was like, hey, you got to listen to Tom. He's trying to talk to you. Like, you got to do this. So I finally took a call from Tom, and Tom's like, Todd, this is Tom Biscardi. I'm the biggest Bigfoot hunter in the country, in the world, and I've made over $12 million trying to hunt Bigfoot, and I have this big organization, blah, 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 blah. And his organization was called Searching for Bigfoot. So I was like, at the time, I'm 22. I'm 47 now. I was 22 at the time. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever you want to do, man. So he proved to me that he really was serious about this and wanted to do this. So he drove across country from California to New York State to come meet me and talk about making a documentary for him. So I was like, all right, that's big. Like, that's a lot of resources you just spent to drive out here. So I asked him, I was like, what do you have that's different that's going to make a good movie? And he's like, hang on. He's, hey, Java Bob, go to the car and get what you got. So he goes out to the car. He travels with this. It was like a mobile museum where he has all these Bigfoot artifacts, like the feet that they do, the castings and all this stuff. So, like I said, I was asking them what's different that people haven't seen. People have seen castings and stuff like that before, and the stories and stuff like that. So his partner comes in with this glass jar. It's about yay big, it's like a big mason jar. And inside it is this friggin' like decrepit hand. And it's cut off at the thumb, like here, and it's all like gross and like, but it's in formaldehyde, so it's totally preserved. And I'm like looking at this thing like, holy shit, what is that? Like, and you can tell it's not human. Like, I don't know what the hell it was. So he tells me the story about it, and I'm like, okay, that's very interesting. Like, okay, we got a movie. So I ended up doing the movie with him. That came out in 2006. It got distributed on. It got picked up by Netflix and Time Warner Cable, Blue Ridge Cable, a whole bunch of other cable networks out here, and it went on to make over like $3 million, man. And I was pissed that I didn't get any of that money because I was the director on it and editor, and I shot it, cut it, directed it, like wrote it, did all the work on it, and that had a very modest budget for me, where it was only $35,000 to make that movie. And what happened was it was my first lesson in business, so. Basically, and I don't care telling the story. They can sue me all they want. That movie's long gone. But basically, they muscled me out of the deal because the original deal was a $35,000 budget, and I was supposed to have 3% royalty on any kind of residuals that the movie went on to make. Well, halfway through, when we first signed the deal, he gave me a $15,000 check, and he owed me $20,000 to make it. So the $15,000 got us started. That paid for expenses, equipment, travel. Because, dude, at 22, that was the greatest summer of my life. Like, I literally was ready to quit my job at the television station to go make this movie, because we basically what the movie's about is I followed him as he investigated different sightings around the country of big Bigfoot tail. And I mean, we went from Boston to Minnesota to Texas to Idaho Falls to Glacier Park. Like, I mean, we were all over the country, Ohio and Illinois, like everywhere, Florida. And we did all this, and I just recorded all these people who had these Bigfoot sightings. It turned into a really awesome movie. So I did a cut of it, and I delivered the cut. And the best thing I ever did, and no one, it was like the smartest thing I ever did, was I formed my LLC and my film company with the money that he paid me. So I put the copyright in the film in my name, in my company's name, because he still owed me money. You know what I mean? So as the film was done, the final cut was approved by him and his board of directors and everything. They were like, okay, let's get it out. And I'm like, you owe me money, dude. Like, hang on. So again, 22 years old, I didn't have a lot of money. I basically had to hire an attorney to get the money that he owed me in order to release the film to him. But in order to get that money, their attorneys came at me and said, give up that 3% royalty and we'll pay you the rest of the money. And my attorney was like, Todd, there's not, I mean, unless you want to sue, which is going to cost you more than that $20,000 that they owe you, you know, what's the chances this movie's going to get picked up? And I was like, I think it's a pretty damn good movie and probably get picked up. So I had to give up my 3% to get the $20,000 that they owed me. And at 22 years old, 20 grand it's a good lot of money. You know, that was life-changing money at the time. You know, you got student loans and shit, like had to do that. So that's how I lost out on whatever $90,000. I guess that's 3% of the $3 million that it made the initial deal. And I don't know what it made after that. I just know that the Netflix deal was like $3 million.
Yeah.
So
that's a harsh lesson, man.
Lesson learned. I was able to form my company. I created my company. I put that copyright in my name, and I had to sign over the copyright to get the remaining $20,000. So one of the lessons I learned is I'm not going to screw anybody over. Like that was a shitty film, and I don't want to do that to anybody else.
Is that what kind of spurred you on to do more independent filmmaking? Like that kind of experience? Is that what kind of pushed you towards that?
Actually, quite the opposite. Actually, it was independent filmmaking that pushed me into documentaries, because with independent filmmaking, like you can't do it alone, and it costs money to do everything. Everything costs money to make a movie, and I'm sitting on like probably 10 different scripts right now that I could literally start producing tomorrow if I had the budget to do it. But I remember I was making this movie called The Fourth Wall. It was a thriller, and this was right before this happened, and there was no Kickstarter back then. There was no way to raise money, so I was doing it on my own, like, you know, credit cards and all that stuff. And halfway through the production, half of my actors, because, you know, they were doing it, I don't want to say for free, I was paying them, but making a movie is a lot of work, and I don't think they realized that at the time. These were college student film actors. You know, these were college actors, so they were looking to do something to add to their name. And when they realized how much work goes into making a movie, they quit, and I lost all my money. And I was like, shit, man, like that sucks. Like that. So that movie never got made. I still got footage of it somewhere packed around here somewhere. And when I realized that the Bigfoot movie came along, when you're doing a documentary, people don't quit because you're doing a documentary on their lives, on whatever the subject matter is they're passionate about. So that's what kind of got me into the documentary stuff.
Yeah. And how many documentaries have you done now?
Only two, and More Than Beast the Voice will be the third. Yeah, because like I said, after I did the Bigfoot movie, is when I started doing fiction again. So I made a movie called Going Up, which is the last movie I made, and that had a pretty good budget. That I successfully crowdfunded that through Indiegogo. But that was the last movie I made before, you know, I met my wife at the time, and we had kids, got married, and that kind of put me on hiatus for a while. So More Than Beast the Voice is kind of getting me back into it. And again, it's not, you know, it's people who want to tell their story. So it's easy to do in that aspect, but again, it still costs money. Like my original vision for this film was for me to be in their hometown, not at a con, you know, like follow them around a con, but I want to see them in their real lives. Like my goal is to be in Peter Cullen's house. Like he invites me to his house, and he's like, "This is my favorite Optimus Prime that I own. You know, I want to share this with you guys." You know, like I would love to see that dude's, you know, or Frank Welker's, you know, his favorite Megatron that he owns. Like, you know, see them in their real lives. Like that's kind of, I want a window into who these people are. But if my access right now is only through the cons, so be it. You know, I'll find a ways to tell the story, whether that be through some of their archive photos of being in the booth or whatever. But, you know, when I was talking to Neil Ross, when I did his interview, he was, I forget what it was that I asked him. Dude, if I had my iPad down here with me, I could show you the research that I've done. I got 15 pages worth of questions for each individual actor that I have prepared already and I don't even, some of them I don't even have signed to the movie yet. But like for Peter Cullen, I got 15 pages of questions I want to ask him. Frank, 15 pages of questions, you know. Judd Nelson, who I'm actively trying to get, 15 pages of questions for him. So I'm very well prepared to do it. But again, it costs money to do these things. And, you know, that's where the Kickstarter came in and, you know, trying to do this. Like, luckily, like I said earlier, I met up with Captain Kyle and ended up in BotCon because we drove up there. You know, like otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get up there. I mean, that's a very expensive trip.
Well, shout out to him. That's his YouTube channel just there.
Yeah, he's awesome. I watch him quite regularly.
Yeah.
He's really, really. He seems like a nice guy. Like he's just like an honest person doing some reviews. He has fun. His cats come on it all the time. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always moaning because his cats are more popular than him.
Yeah. Well, shout out to him.
He's a real good dude. We spent the whole weekend with him together. Like he has another channel too. It's called Fandom Spotlight, where he goes to all these cons and like films the panels, and he puts all the panels up on YouTube. Yeah. I think that's how him and Derek got to meet each other, because that's why we were there. We were filming panels.
The community is really quite open to projects that really tie the community together. Like on our scale, when we first started to bring this together, it really just started from a question, right? And we've just kind of gone from step to step to step naturally. One, from me putting a post on the Facebook groups to getting these guys on board to having a test run, and then all of a sudden we're just picking up speed and getting these wonderful guests on, having these great discussions and really trying to bring something different to the party. But regardless of if the person I've been approaching is amazingly hasn't been interviewed before, like the Triptychon guy, never been interviewed before, never been on a podcast before, or yourself who's done, countless interviews, it's more often than not been the same response. Sounds pretty cool. Would love to come on for a chat. Yeah, 100%. Like, let's make a date. And that's been the really gratifying thing about it. How involved, like I know you're a lifelong collector and a lifelong fan. What were the groups like? What are the communities in the Transformers fandom that you were previously involved in before this project came about, or were you? I mean, and it's okay if you're not. Scotty kind of came out of his Transformers cave only recently, and we were lucky enough to make friends with him pretty much straight away.
Literally been on Facebook for about a year.
Yeah.
Now I'm on podcasts.
Yeah. He went from not being on any social media to being on Facebook for a year to being on a podcast, and he's been a lifelong collector.
Doing all right, I think.
No, yeah. I mean, honestly, I wasn't collecting like I said, I had my son and everything, but when I left for college, I don't want to give away when I left. It was like 96. I graduated high school.
Dude, you're not the oldest person.
I wasn't collecting for a long, long time. It wasn't until I discovered what the hell was it? It was an Optimus Prime that I saw. Basically, when they started doing G1 accurate toys, I was like, man, that looks really cool. And I got onto when I started collecting, I found the YouTubers. So like I think it was like MGO and Prime versus Prime were the first ones I started following, just because the transformations are tough, So I was looking for YouTube videos on how to transform these friggin' toys, so I started collecting them and I started following a lot of the YouTube community, and even some of the younger kids, like who's that one kid, Primus Creator, I think his name is. And these guys were doing toy hunts, and that's what interests me. It was like I like doing toy hunts. So, because I wasn't making movies, but I still work in television, I needed a creative outlet, for something for me to do. And I thought that these toy hunt YouTube videos were fun, So I started doing them myself, and I created my YouTube channel, and I wasn't really trying to do it for like monetization or any of that stuff. I was just doing it because it's fun, I was like, I'm hunting these toys anyway. I might as well record it and tell people what I'm finding, because people watch it and I like watching it. So my son liked that I started doing it, and I kind of share that with him. Like he'll come out on some of the toy hunts with me. We may do one this morning when they get up because it's still early over here. But those are the communities I started following, was a lot of the YouTubers, and then I discovered there's a bunch of pages on X and Facebook that I follow too. Just like TF alerts, just let me know when stuff is hitting the stores and stuff, so I know when I need to get into the stores and start hunting there. I always my tagline is your boy hunts, your boy finds. There hasn't been one Transformer that I have not found in store yet that I've been able to show people that, as far as like a mainline toy. So I started doing that for fun, and again, thanks to me doing that and finding the YouTube community, I was able to reach out to people to try to help me get the word out about the documentary. So that's been kind of helpful.
Yeah, nice, very nice. And so going back to the documentary, we were talking about John Machida before. What has been the most surprising story that you've kind of gotten from the actors that you have interviewed so far? And surprising story in terms of from their own personal lives. Do you have one that kind of really sticks out for you?
Well, so if you guys are familiar with watching documentaries, there's always a narrative. It's documentaries are meant to be real. It's considered journalism, but there is a narrative to it. Like how do you want to tell the story that you're trying to tell? So there's a couple of what I call crossover questions that I have them all, and one of them was what and I say all because there's 4 people that I've interviewed so far, and one of the crossover questions that'll probably be towards the end of the documentary was I wanted to know, how does it feel to be on their side of the table, meaning when us as fans spend a ton of money on the toys, a ton of money to get to these cons, to meet them, stand in line for hours on end just to see them put a signature on a poster or a toy or whatever, and basically, they're making money from this. This is their livelihood. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them are still actively working in Hollywood doing video game voices and whatever, but these cons, they make a significant amount of money to make a living. So it's us that are fueling that. It's our love for the franchise and for them that fuels their portion of their living. You know what I mean? So one of my questions was, what kind of weight does that carry on you as a human being, knowing that this franchise, all these people, like what does it feel like when you're on your side of the table and you're looking out at a sea of people who spend a ton of money, who spend hours on end just standing in line to come say hello to you? What does that feel like? And their answers to that have been really, really good. Like I don't want to give too much away because I want people to watch the doc or when I put out the sizzle reel, but a lot of them are really taken aback by it. Like for instance, one of the things that Neil Ross said, Springer, he said that and this goes back to my original plan, like to see them in their hometowns or whatever. But he was talking about how he gets these cons and he'll just walk through the hall and people are like, "Hey, Neil. Hi, Neil. Hi, Mr. Ross. Hi, Neil." And he says, "I don't get that at home. Like I go into my coffee shop and nobody knows who the hell I am." So I find that interesting. And he's like, he can live his private life wherever it is that he lives. But then when he comes to the con, there's tens of thousands of people who know who the hell he is. Like that. Like for instance, here's a fun story. Our first night in BotCon, so we got there Thursday night. We got there. BotCon started on Friday. So Thursday night we met up with a couple other YouTubers. I don't know if it was planned or not by Kyle, but we just ran into some people and we decided to get some dinner together. And as we were waiting in line to get sat, Neil Ross is behind us. So we're in line and I turn around and I said, "Kyle, there's freaking Neil Ross right there." And he was like, "You should ask him now." I was like, "No, I'm not going to bug him while he's because at that point I hadn't approached him about the movie. And I was like, I'm not going to bug him while he's trying to eat. That dude looks like he's hungry. I'm not going to bug him. So we get out of the way and he gets sat and he goes in there by himself and just has a quiet dinner by himself like that. That's cool. But the fact that, he's just behind us and we know him, but he's just walking around with nobody with him. That was cool to me, But that's one of the things that I asked is, how does it feel? And a lot of them say how thankful they are for us because they've all done several projects, you know, in their career. Like they've had long, lustrous careers, and none of them have given them the what the Transformers franchise has. You know what I mean? Like you don't see these guys going to like there aren't any, to my knowledge, a whole lot of G.I. Joe cons. You know what I mean? There's not Thundercats cons or video game cons where these guys are going, where tens of thousands of people are showing up to get them to sign a friggin' StarCraft toy or something, like, you know what I mean? Like Transformers is different. It just is. It's just a different beast, and they understand that, they respect that, and they love it. They do. They truly do. So
Bob says, to see this documentary. So you're definitely winning us over and winning some fans there. I can tell the audience is engaged in your stories, man. That's it is such an interesting thing because you know they would go from basically obscurity to celebrity just for these weekends, and you know people are genuinely interested in their stories. Has anything like this ever been attempted before? Like in terms of these cast, these voice actors, you know, has it been attempted with any of the other previous voice cast in terms of?
To my knowledge, no. And that's you know, that's kind of like I said, not to be morbid, but one of the things, and I said this to them, you know, like, so it's not like I'm saying something that I didn't say to them, you know. At 47 years old, I know my life is probably half over. You know, if I lived to 87, that'd be great. You know, but Peter Cullen just turned 85. You know, Frank is in his 80s. You know, all these guys are in their 70s. You know, and the thing about it is, when I'm dead and gone, Transformers will still be here in some kind of form. You know, like there will be some kind of form of Transformers around. And seeing how my son has taken to it, not just the new stuff like the Bay movies or anything like that, but G1. G1 touches people in a way that very, very few franchises do. And that's honestly the reason why I wanted to make the movie, is because, you know, I want to be able to 50 years from now, and I said this to them, 50 years from now, when they're gone, I'm gone, my son is a grandfather, and his grandson discovers Transformers, whatever iteration of Transformers exists in 2050, you know, whatever it is, it will always lead back to G1 because people always want to see where this started. So 50 years from now, I want More Than Meets the Voice to be the artifact that tells them who Peter Cullen was, who Frank Welker was, like who these people were, not just as actors and voice actors, but as human beings. Like, how did these people reach the pinnacle of their career, and what it took to get there to give us Optimus Prime, to give us Megatron. So that's really why I want to tell these stories. Like when I say stories, I'm not talking about the Michael Bell story where he talks about being in the booth with Chris Latta and him sweating all over him and all that stuff. I'm not talking about Peter Cullen talking about the how he came up with Optimus Prime's voice with his brother Larry telling him, be gentle enough to lead. You know, we've heard that. We know that. We know those stories. I want to know the human beings, not the actors. You see what I'm saying? And that's where the focus of my documentary is. And that's what I was trying to get across through the Kickstarter campaign, is to try to tell. The thing about it is the information was there, but people don't read. Like, I'm just being real. As much information as I put out there on the Kickstarter, like what it's about, who I am, who these people are, their spotlights, people don't read it. And I'll tell you this story too. TM Reviews, I don't know if you guys follow him. Awesome dude. Sony, awesome dude. Great channel. One of the original Transformer YouTubers. Hooked up with him. He loved the idea of the film, and he's been helping me. Met him at BotCon. Awesome dude. So when he first started talking about my movie on his channel, I had one image that I generated through AI, right? One image. He put it up there, and I got destroyed by like 20 people about how, oh, this AI slop, I'm not back in this movie already. And I was like, whoa, that took me, dude, as a creator, that took me back. I was like, wow, people, I even working in the news industry, I didn't realize how anti people are with AI, and it wasn't even like I didn't generate like Peter Cullen's face or anything like it. It was literally just like Prime saying, I want you to help make a movie. You know what I mean? Like it was really weird, and it's because like I'm not an artist. I'm a graphic artist. I actually know how to make those things, but I can't draw Optimus Prime pointing at somebody saying like, because it was in the I don't know if you guys know Uncle Sam and PA. He's the dude that, you know, I want you to vote, you know, whatever. It was that, that image. And he put that up, you know, because it was like I was trying to point people to the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And I got destroyed for it right at the beginning of the campaign. And I wonder a lot if that kind of helped too, like slow the momentum right off the top. So that was difficult. Not difficult, but it was a lesson I learned. Like, okay, no more AI. I'm not doing that anymore. So you know, moving forward, I never did any AI again.
We've walked that gauntlet already ourselves as well, and we had to experience the same. And you know, we were two minds about it. You know, we're like, anyone that discounts us for just trying to get this thing off the ground and like just judge us on that superficial level, that's okay, right? We're not doing this to be megastars. We're doing this for the community, and we're trying our best here, right? As a bunch of
and that's exactly happened. It was a snap judgment before even realizing what the campaign was or what the movie was about and who I am. You know, like they looked at one little stupid image and it was like, I'm out.
Yeah. But the thing we found is that certainly generated some interesting discussions for us and interesting evolutions for us as well. And it was, you know, right from the very start, we were supportive of independent artists and who we can get. But as you said, you're running a full life as well as whatever project you're running, and you only have limited time and resources to do it.
Correct.
So, you know, we have moved past that and evolved past that, and we've been able to recruit more help with you know, promotion and imagery and met more artists along the way. Your cat's fine. I saw him come down the stairs. He's all good.
Yeah, she's down there staring at me.
But yeah, it can be gutting when, you know, you're putting all this effort into it and you get shut down over one act. And look, better early, in my view. It's better early than later, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's part of the learning, right? But it's better early rather than later. But I'm glad you kept going beyond that setback, because it can be crushing. The thing that we espouse is that you cannot like it, but don't attack people personally, right? That people are people. Right?
I've been called pedophile for using it. Like it's been crazy. But you know, in this business, you got to have thick skin. You got to be able to take the criticism. You know, and
you're putting yourself out there.
And the truth be told, like you can go look at TM Review's post about it. You know, I defended myself, and I personally messaged the people who were shit talking me. Guess how many people replied? 2 seconds. Yeah, they're all keyboard warriors, man. Like it's not like I attacked them either. I just politely told them, professionally told them, hey, I am a graphic artist. I'm just limited in time. I made one graphic. Seeing how people reacted to it, I won't do it again. And I was like, if you have questions about my movie or me, reach out. I'll answer any questions you have. I'm full transparent. And nobody said a thing. Which shows you who they are.
Yeah.
I don't need those kind of backers anyway.
No. And you want people involved in your project that are actually interested in your project and in the stories.
And positive. I want positivity. Like I want to surround it with positivity. I don't need keyboard warriors. Unless the keyboard warriors are helping push the project.
Well, none of our fans are keyboard warriors. You're all good. You're all good. You're all good. What is it? You talked a little bit about getting a project up to light. Like, how much work are you actually putting into getting this up? I know, we talked about the Kickstarter right at the start. You got it up and running. You've done a heap of interviews and pulled in a heap of support. But how much work is this actually taking for you to continue driving this project forward? Because I know you've had some wins, but they've been wins you've had to fight for. So how much does it actually take to get a documentary like this off the ground, up and running, and into full production?
Well, I'll tell you another story, okay? When you want to talk about it, so it's a full-time job. It's a full-time job. I get up early, like now, like this isn't abnormal for me. I usually leave for work about 7:00, to drop my kids off, and then I go to work. I get to be to work by 8, but I usually wake up early, and I'm fiddling around on here, writing questions or trying to reach out to the celebrities to do it. But think about this, okay? When my Kickstarter was running, okay, I have every day, every morning before I went to work, every day on 3 different platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. I would personally message 60 to 75 people per day, every day of the campaign, asking for support. Whether that support was a pledge or just sharing it or telling 2 friends. Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen Wayne's World, but I that's the approach. I was like, you tell 2 friends, and then they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends. Like, that's kind of what I was trying to get people to do. So all within my personal and professional orbit, I would message 60 people. Sometimes it would be doubled up because I don't have that many people, but at least it would be spaced out. So I wasn't bugging them every day. It was more like every 5 days or every 6 days, whatever. But for the entire length of the campaign, keep in mind, I think I had 66 backers when the campaign closed. 66. I was messaging 60 to 75 people per day of my personal network. If that gives you a little hint of how much work there is. Then on top of that, I work my 8-9 hour job. I got to spend time with my kids when they get home from school or from camp or whatever. And then when they go to bed, I got to spend time with my wife. Within that time, if me and the wife are just chilling on the couch and watching movies or whatever, she's Legoing. She loves the Lego. She does some Legoing. And I got my laptop in front of me or my iPad or whatever. And I'm writing messages to the stars, trying to get them to say yes to this. I'm reaching out to Judd Nelson's people and Eric Idle's people, and who else haven't I gotten yet? David Mendenhall, who played Daniel. Stan Bush. I recently reached out to Stan Bush because I think his perspective on this would be good too. And not only on that, there's also the fundraising aspect of it. So everything starts with the dollar. I can't do shit without money. I can't do a thing. Gotta have money. And I thought a $50,000 budget, which is what I was asking for on the Kickstarter, I thought that was a very modest budget. I mean, movies take millions to make, but I have the skills and the talent that I could do this for $50,000. Actually, I wanted $100,000, but I asked for 50, hoping that I could get 5,000 fans to give me $10. But if I got 5,000 fans to give me $20, that doubles the budget, makes it easier to do. So with that, some of the work that goes into it too is I have a running list of a production equipment list of the camera that I need, batteries, cases, lights, microphones, all that type of stuff. Then there's travel involved. All that costs money. Then there's also the planning behind it. Like you can see the picture that I posted from BotCon, the two mornings that I was just fine tuning all the questions I had. Like I mentioned earlier, like I got 15 pages worth of, not one 15-page document, but like 9 of them, and they're all like 15 pages. I swear to God, of just questions that I'm going to ask these people. Once I get them to sit down in front of my cameras. So there's planning there. Then there's the fundraising aspect. The thing that bumped me out the most about the failure of the Kickstarter was I was in conversations with 3 different toy companies, and I'll mention them now. I don't care. I don't think they're going to make any money from me saying this, but Big Bad Toy Store, YOLO Park, and 80s Tees. All 3 of them were very interested in the film, but they all backed out at the last minute of giving me funding because they saw the Kickstarter was going to fail, and they said it wasn't worth their time. Not mad. totally understand business is business.
Yeah.
But imagine if the hundreds of people that I messaged in my own network, my own people, you know what I'm saying? If they all came through with $5-10, that 7,000 that I made on Kickstarter could have made it to like 15,000, which would have looked better to those companies to invest more money into, which would have led to a successful campaign.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So all the behind the scenes work that I was doing to even get past the gatekeepers to those companies was hard. I actually had face-to-face Zoom video interviews with Big Bad Toy Store's lead marketing people. So everything that's going on behind the scenes is a lot of work. And they're still, I'm not saying they're out. They're still interested. They just want to see what's next now that the campaign has failed. Like, how can I do this next? So one of the things that I've been trying to fine tune over this time now while I'm waiting is better rewards, because people like rewards. And one of my strategies was how I didn't want to just produce a whole bunch of t-shirts or mugs or any of that bullshit. Like, I wanted to give people something more of value, which I value, which is experience. So a lot of the things that I was offering was low cost to me because I want all the money to go to the budget of the film, but high experience for the backers. Like one of the tiers, I think it was the highest tier, was full access to me on set as I interview people, as long as I had permission from the talent. So my vision was, here's my phone. I got my phone, but here's my phone, and I'm sitting down across from Frank Welker, and my assistant, whoever's with me on these shoots, would then call somebody. Here's my phone. It's Prime. Would call you up on Zoom or whatever, and you can watch, like we are now, a live Zoom call of me conducting the interview for the movie. That was one of the perks, which was on-set access as I'm filming, which I thought, hey, I see the collections that people have, you know what I mean? Like the toy collections they have. And I know that some people, there's thousands of collectors out there who have just money to burn that they spend on these extravagant dioramas and stuff where they're saying, I figured there's got to be somebody who's going to like this movie enough to give me $5,000 for that kind of perk, where you actually just get your name and the credits and all that stuff too, but actually see the movie get made. That's something that I can offer that I don't think anybody's ever offered in a Kickstarter. Access to the crazy.
How did it land? How did those tiers land with the backers that you had?
But I don't know if it's because people didn't like that perk or if it just didn't reach the right person because of exposure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, just being at BotCon, interacting with the fans there and just talking to people, this is what blew my mind, okay? I have a button-down Transformers shirt. It's got Decepticon logos and Autobot logos. It's a very cool button-down shirt. And it's in my it's in the Kickstarter campaign that I launched. I was wearing that around BotCon. And this isn't a flex. I'm just saying it's not a flex. 3 people recognized me from the Kickstarter campaign. They came up to me. They were like, "Hey, where have I seen you before?" And they like, "I've seen that shirt before." And I was like, "More than meets the voice." So they were like, "Oh shit, yes." So like, I had recognition from 3 people in BotCon that I'd never met before that just recognized me from the campaign and all the social stuff that I've been putting out and through other people's YouTube channels putting it out. So it feels like to me that at the end of the campaign, I was just starting to get that momentum going. Like people were starting to discover it and actually understand what it was that I was trying to do. And not only that, like I said, it was either day 24 or 25 where Vince DiCola signed on. So at the end of the campaign is when all the names started coming. Michael Bell and John Machida and Paul Eiding signed on at the very last minute. Greg Berger signed on. So it was like I didn't have enough time in the campaign to utilize their announcements to get more people involved, if that makes sense. So now when I relaunch, I have 8 people, 4 of who I've already interviewed. So now the campaign is significantly stronger to show that, hey, this is actually going to happen with your help. So I'm kind of hoping that's where it goes.
Yeah. Were you able to kind of poll the people that you met at BotCon? Were you able to poll like, what do you think of this tier of rewards when I offer this Kickstarter? Like, is that
I
something that?
did, and a lot of people liked what I already had up.
Yeah.
I did. I literally just posted yesterday too, to get suggestions. I posted on the Dead Kickstarter page and on my Facebook page, like what kind of rewards would people like to see, because at this point, if people want T-shirts and mugs, I guess that's what I got to do. I just got to put it at a higher tier where I'm not taking away from the budget of the film, but that's a lot of work to get that kind of stuff produced and shipped out. That it's a lot of time and it's a lot of money, and I don't want to put out like a $50 tier where you're going to get a T-shirt and a mug, but out of that $50, it's going to cost me $30 to produce what you're asking for. You know what I mean? So only 20 of that 50 goes to the movie. Like I want to make a great movie, and it's going to take money to do that. So I would, I want as many dollars of whatever it is I raise to go to the production of the film. Mind you, I'm not taking a salary from this or whatever. Like if I make anything, and again, this is full transparent. If I didn't come up with this to make money, but I'm also not naive to the fact that it could make money. Because once Hasbro, or I think Paramount owns the rights to the Transformers movie rights or whatever, once they get wind of what I'm trying to do here, you can't tell me they're not going to approach me about distribution. I mean, Paramount has their own streaming service. Hasbro works with Paramount or is owned by Paramount. So it's like there is potential to make money from the movie for myself, but that's not my goal, especially with the Kickstarter. Any money I make from the Kickstarter will go to compensating the actors, travel and lodging for me, film festival cost. If this doesn't get picked up right away, I got to go to film festivals to try to find distribution for the film, because I'm not naive to the fact that I'm not making this for me. I'm making it to put out for everyone, So there's the whole distribution aspect of it. The money's got to go to a gear. Like I don't have gear right now. I was only able to film the 4 that I did because Captain Kyle had his gear for the panels, so I was able to use his gear. But I need my own gear to get around, and then I got to pay somebody to come with me. I can't do it myself. I got to have at least 1 or 2 assistants that come with me, which means I got to feed that person. I got to pay for their travel and pay for their lodging. Because I still want to go to Neil Ross's hometown and see how he sits at a Starbucks. These are the things that I want to explore. This is what I want to do, and to do the movie correctly the way I envision it, it's going to take money. That's the bottom line. I mean, it's to do it right. It's going to take money. So
what happens?
The work is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to ask what happens, with the backers of your original Kickstarter? What's happened there for the people that did back your original campaign? Are their funds still in play to bring this project about, or does it get refunded? What happens there?
So with Kickstarter, the money never gets withdrawn until the Kickstarter is successful.
Right.
Once it's successful and hits the goal, then once the Kickstarter ends is when they would take the money. So when people pledge, that's all it is a pledge until the end of the campaign. So all the 66 people that pledged, they never saw money leave their account, and so it didn't go anywhere. A lot of them reached out to me and said, when you relaunch, we want to come back. So that's why I'm trying to build an audience before the next launch. So here's the thing with Kickstarter, okay? Through all my research, because I did a ton. Like I said, we launched in May, middle of May, but the idea of the film came in March. So from March to May, I was planning all of this out and researching how the best way to get this accomplished. And one of the things I learned about Kickstarter is, initially I was trying to do it through Indiegogo, but Indiegogo kept giving me a whole bunch of runaround and a lot of red tape for some reason to even launch the campaign. So I was like, screw you guys, you're wasting my time. Like it ended up costing me 2 weeks of what I wanted to do. So I moved over to Kickstarter, and Kickstarter was like, yeah, come on over. It was super easy to do and easy to launch, and everything was cool. But the thing about Kickstarter is most of the people that use Kickstarter are companies like Skybound. I'll use Skybound as an example. So Skybound will say, hey, we're going to launch this new board game. It's going to be great. Or a new comic. It'll be great. They will have backers ready at launch. So as soon as it launches, it basically gets funded. But I don't know why they do it that way instead of just funding the damn thing, but it gives fans a chance to get involved. So what I learned is with Kickstarter, you need 30% of whatever your goal is at launch for the Kickstarter algorithm to push you to the right people. So for me, that would have been like $15,000 at launch for Kickstarter to even just push it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I was hoping that within my own personal network, I'd have been able to get close to that. I'm not saying I could raise 15,000 from friends and family, but maybe 5,000, and I couldn't even do that. You know, it's funny when you ask people to support you in that way, and they don't show up. Like it was kind of a gut punch, to be honest with you. Like, because I'm, this is friends and family, like colleagues and stuff that who know and like me. So if I can't get people who know and like me to do it, how the hell am I going to get strangers to come over who don't know me from my phrase, a can of chew spit? Like they just, it's tough to do. So I don't want to say I was dead in the water at launch, but it definitely was a lot more difficult when I didn't have that initial flood, because that has to happen in the first like 48 to 72 hours for Kickstarter to then start pushing you and promoting you. Because if Kickstarter thinks that, if the algorithm thinks that you're going to fail, it's not going to put its power behind you to push you, if that makes sense. So hopefully for the next launch, I got all these people, even if it's, the 66 people who already backed me, even if they come back on day 1, 2, and 3 and give me that initial, because I think it was like $7,200 I raised or whatever. Even if I get that right off the bat, that'll jumpstart the Kickstarter algorithm to start pushing me in front of people who may want to back it. People with, because there's a ton of people, I'm talking millions of people who just have money who search Kickstarter projects to back. Yeah. That's true. So if it starts getting put in front of the right people, I mean, there's got to be millionaires out there who are Transformers fans that would see this and be like, shit, this is cool. What's $5,000 to me? Nothing. Here, so that's how difficult and easy it could be. Like, if you're a company like Skybound who has a huge following and can have backers ready to roll, that was actually one of the things that I pitched to the toy companies. Many of them, I was like, if you want to come on board, hey, give me the whole 50,000, and it now becomes a big bad toy store production. Like if you want to do that, but if not, like I was saying to people, whatever. If there was a monetary donation or a monetary tier that you wanted to get on as a corporate sponsor for this, instead of cutting me a check, put it through the Kickstarter to help get the Kickstarter over the goal, and it's win-win. You get to have me promote your film, and your film is, your company is in the film, logos and stuff like that. But also, there's a tax ramification here in the U.S. So if a business does a donation, they can write that off for a tax rebate at the end of the year. And same for me. Like if say Big Bad Toy Store wanted to give me $10,000, well, if they give Todd Douglas Bailey $10,000, I got to claim that. That's a tax hit for me at the end of the year. But if they do it through Kickstarter takes the taxes out of that immediately, and out of that $10,000, I will probably get about maybe $9,000 of that would go to the movie, and $1,000 of that would go to taxes. But no, it's no longer an income for me to claim, and it's no longer it's a tax deduction for them if they do it through a campaign. Yeah. So that's how I was pitching it to them. Like, to me, that's win-win. And then if the campaign failed, they lost nothing, but they could have pledged the money to show the growth to get more people in. And that's kind of where I was trying to get to, you know what I mean?
And hopefully you'll get to it. And so you picked September for your next kind of relaunch of the campaign, which is not that far away, right? No, so where are you gathering people to kind of start getting that swell? And then I want to throw to the chat at Freakenstein Transformers. He's joined us just recently, but where can people gather to kind of start seeing more of the actions that you're doing?
Yep, Facebook is where I'm putting out the More Than Meets the Voice Facebook documentary page. Everything that I'm doing is going on there. I tried to get a lot of the backers from the previous Kickstarter to come over to there, and a lot of them have. Everybody that I meet at the con. Here's why the timing is going to be important for me. I was literally just talking to Greg Berger yesterday. Yeah, me and Greg Berger are cool. We talk on the phone. No big deal. No big deal. I just talked to Grimlock. It's no big deal. But I asked him. He's going to be at TFCon in Orlando in October, which I think is October 24th through the 26th. And I said, hey, if you're going to be down there, if I can figure out a way down there, can I steal you for about 30, 40 minutes to do the interview? And he's like, that's a great idea. Let's do that. So with that being in October, dude, I don't have money to make it down to Orlando right now. Like, I got a family, dude. I got Transformers to buy. But if I launch the campaign September 1st, and it's a 30-day campaign, by the beginning of October, I'll know if I have a budget to make it down to Orlando.
To get Gridlock on board. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. Freakenstein says, and he apparently has a Transformer movie as well. But he said set up a booth at TFCon or BotCon. Well, again, that takes funds. Yeah, that takes funds. He might have some experience there. His brother is doing the new Transformers cards coming out next year, which is very cool.
That's cool. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. So if you got any tips, Freakenstein, reach out to Todd. I'm going to throw your Facebook group out into the chat, and I gave it a follow just before. So if you can, and you're interested in finding out more, please give this a follow. Stelia, Scotty, you have been hearing this story, and
great story.
Enjoying the ride.
Yes.
What would have appealed to you? One, were you aware of this Kickstarter when it was around? Either of you, because you're both.
No, I've seen a few things pop up on Facebook about the documentary, but not a lot of things. Like I've seen it pop up, and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. And I think I've seen a few photos around, but yeah, not much is really popping up anywhere about it.
Pop up on your radar, yeah. And Stelios, yourself, you as a fan.
I sadly haven't heard anything about it, but it all sounds incredibly fascinating, and obviously a massive undertaking on your part, Todd. And I commend your persistence and dedication to this, because it is a big deal, and I think we've never really seen anything like this before in the fandom. So if it all goes well and you get all the backing that you need, and it all takes off, and you get the names agreeing to show up, I think it would really be something really special.
Well, he's already gotten quite a few this Blue RC. He's on the interview as well. Let me just throw this out to you boys and people in the chat as well. If a new Kickstarter was to launch, what would get you in terms of a reward tier? What would get you on the line, right? To go, yep, I'm going to put some money towards this project because I like the idea of it. I want to hear the stories. But let's face it, collectors are a fickle bunch, and sometimes you just need like a nice little reward to get you over the line. What would the rewards that you gents would like to see in a campaign like this? All right, and we'll throw it out to the chat too if they've got any ideas. What would you ask for with this kind of project?
I'm a huge proponent of physical media, and I think it's something that tragically is dying out, and that really kind of hurts me. I like the sort of well, there you go. Yeah.
I'm the same. I still have a DVD collection.
Yes.
My wife mocks me, but she loves watching them.
Yeah. I like the ritual, as it were, of actually having a DVD or Blu-ray player and going out to your local JB Hi-Fi or whatever shop, wherever you buy your DVDs, and actually getting the physical copy in your hands, whether it's a box set or just a movie or whatever. If it were, and I don't know the costs of or feasibility of doing this, if it were possible to maybe do a physical DVD copy of the documentary to send out to people. I don't know how you're planning on releasing it, but if
maybe
it
a
were
Kickstarter exclusive edition, collector's edition, with some behind
yes,
the scenes interviews, maybe.
collector's edition, put a couple of Easter eggs and bloopers on the DVD, maybe to
A few
entice
behind the
people.
scene
Might be
interview
fun.
techniques and things.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
really interesting, you know.
What about you, Scotty? DVD, yeah.
I'm the same. I love the physical media. Like like you say, it's dying out. We're all going to be digital soon, and then we're not going to have any of these copies. And I still like having the copies, you know. And I think something like a physical copy that you could actually hold in your hands and put on your shelf and say to people, "Oh, look, I backed these guys, and look what I got. I got a really cool DVD, and the documentary is great." And then, as you say, passing it on to other people. Like we don't know how long DVD players are going to be around, but my boy likes a good DVD, and I'm gaming consoles will still probably have discs for a while at least. Like I know Sony's announced it, but it's like about 10 years away, they reckon. But it will happen. But that physical copy that then you can pass on to your kids, and then they pass it on to their kids, and that's how you get that cycle going, because you leave it on the internet, who knows how long before it just gets deleted. Internet loses things all the time.
It's an interesting point, because I don't know what percentage of like the Transformers fan community is only interested in the movies or the TV shows or the visual media, but you can bet that a lot of the community is kinesthetic in some way, and like they like a bot. They like a bot in the hand. They like to fool with it, get it into their shelves or the collections. Keep it in box, don't keep it in box, whatever. But there's always some sort of physical aspect for it. So whilst I fully appreciate, the offering of an experience as a reward, maybe there needs to be something that's tangible in there that people can get and hold. And like Stelly, I said, I completely understand your reluctance to do it, because it adds a whole other element to it. But
a whole new nightmare that you're trying to
a whole new nightmare. But I think maybe again you can kind of, you've got people that can help at least give you some sort of insight to it, like these lads here, right? Realm of Collectors and stuff like that. Speaking of physically. But maybe there's an element there that you can really get into.
Those pins are cool. I wonder if I can get a movie logo made with those pins. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you can set the tiers so it more than covers the production costs and still puts money towards the movie, towards the doco. I think of the Skybound investment in the compendiums, right? And I was looking through the rewards as well, and when I was evaluating which tier I'd go for, I like, wow, there's this tier which is like the penultimate tier, but some of that stuff sounds really cool, but I don't know if it sounds that cool, right? So I ended up going with like the Grimlock tier, which has some of that physical media and some of that in the cells or the drawings, I can't remember what it was, but there's physical perks there, but it doesn't have everything. Right? But it was enough to get me to spend a significant amount to get that compendium into my collection, and I still haven't opened it. I don't know where to put it.
No, you have to.
That's what you need. You need people who go, I am like on board with this. I want that physical thing as well as the movie and the production, and I want to be able to be part of it. And that's also how people feel a part of it. That's the thing. Like we grew up watching G1, right? And whatever emotional connection we have to the figures, yes, we get it when we watch the thing, but we also get it when we pick the bot up, right? Or when we look at it on our shelves, because it puts us into that experience. One of our other viewers, Uncle Chunt, who was on it, one of our first guests on the show, he's produced a couple of books of his own creation, and he's just got his second sample book from Amazon and goes, I'm going to put it on the shelf next to the MCU and next to the DC movies that I love and next to my favorite figures. And that feels like I'm a part of that. Like my universe is coming into next to that. And that's kind of what people really vibe on, right? Is in some way feeling connected to the universe. Same reason we get signatures, right? You line up for hours to get a freaking signature from this person you may only meet once in your life, but you have that brief exchange, you have that moment, and it connects you to it forever. And every time you look at that signature, right, you relive that experience, but it's tied into the physical. Rickenstein is giving us all sorts of stuff here. He has over 4,000 Transformers. He or she, I'm not sure. Decided never to have kids because they would touch my Transformers. It is an interesting subject. The secret is, I think, to make sure they have their own collection and understand there's some bots that are off limits, and it doesn't always work.
My boy touches them all the time. I don't mind. He's very gentle. He knows the rules. He puts them back properly. He loves it. They're toys at the end of the day, and we're grown ass men, like we can let the kids touch them.
I've got this one, right, and this is not official, but this is a transformer, right? So it's done by an Australian, like 3D printed in COVID, beautiful thing, like in the box and stuff. And I had the tram on my shelf, and my now 5-year-old, this is quite a while ago, he picked it off the do not touch shelf, and I make sure he's got plenty of bots himself. And this is what I've currently got. It's like, and it's been sitting behind the box because I'm not quite sure what to do with it. And at some point I'll rebuild it, but it was a beautiful W-class tram, as you can see there. It will be again someday. But the do not touch shelf is not always a do not touch. But
they find a way to it.
Yeah, but at the same time, my 10-year-old, like he's a massive Transformers fan. My 5-year-old, he certainly has his collection, and they get involved and they love seeing what I collect. But and it's a beautiful connection point. But yeah, at the end of the day, if they touch them, they touch them. That's
not much you can do, is there? You can't get angry at them. They're toys. Of course, they're excited by them. We're excited by them. And we're like, I can't blame you.
The generational legacy, you touched on this earlier about producing this doco. I think it's a beautiful thing, right? Because the way the tie-in that we can pass on to our kids, even if you kick the bucket and they end up selling your entire Transformers collection off because they're just like whatever. At some point, they're gonna be like, oh, that was my dad used to love these, and I remember I used to have some, and like there'll be some element of tying back into previous generations, and if that's the way that we do it, that's another point of connection. That's an investment well worth paying, right? So I think it's really admirable in terms of what you're doing there, and how you're driving that project. So physical media, something we can touch, grab, hold, put up on a wall, something would be phenomenal. I think that would be really good.
I think the struggle with the DVD, and I wouldn't be opposed to it, to be honest with you, is I wonder with my previous Kickstarter or Indiegogo, I did offer the DVDs, and it did do well. It ate up a significant amount of the budget. But with this one being as much bigger earning potential in terms of distribution, I wonder if that would hurt my distribution chances.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like if Hasbro's like, how many of these DVDs have you produced already and put it out there and then get pissed at? You know what I mean? Like these are things that I have to think about when I have to do it. So it's just something I got to think about. I got to do some research on that to see, because I'm not opposed. Like anything that I can do to try to get the budget to make this movie happen, I'm all ears for. It's just I'm going to have to make sure that doesn't hurt the distribution of it. You know what I mean?
Well, as a former DVD collector, I can tell you that every special edition of a movie or definitive edition of a movie that I bought of a DVD, sure as shit, like 2 years later, there was some other scene or some other bonus stuff or some other super exclusive 4 DVD box set that would come out, and I'd be like, let's buy it again. You end up having four copies of the same movie just with a little extra bonus content on there. So maybe I don't know if that helps, but yeah, there's always another special edition around there somewhere.
So let me ask you guys this. So
Please.
for the physical media tier, say I were to offer a Blu-ray, I wouldn't do a DVD. DVD is trash. Like it would be a Blu-ray because I'm sure
VHS.
Yeah. Well, or yeah, you be special edition.
VHS, but the special edition.
That would be actually awesome.
That would be awesome.
It would actually be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. They did it for the album. They got cassette. Vinyl, right?
That would actually be awesome. But what do you think that people would be willing to pay? Like what monetary tier do you think would be reasonable?
Well, run us through what your tiers were on your original campaign. So you had the big one. I'm just trying to get onto it. What were your actual tiers? Let me see if I can pull it up here. Oh, I've got it. So we've got Energon Supporter at $10. This is the old campaign, by the way, for people that are watching. Yep. So this is the Energon Supporter, $10. You get a thank you and a campaign updates. Autobot Recruit for $25. You get early digital access to the film and exclusive backer updates. Decepticon Spy, we add a behind-the-scenes content onto it. So you had 11 backers on that. Matrix Bearer, $100. 21 backers you had on that, and we added a special thanks in the film credits and a digital print of the movie poster. So even if you turn that into a physical print, like I think would excite people. Boys chip in if you think that you would go in on $100 tier for that. Voice of Cybertron, now we're down to 3 backers. Extended interview clips and behind the scenes photos, and then we start to get into the $500. You had the addition of a digital print of the signed movie poster and an invite to the virtual premiere. Then Unicron Soldier for $1,000, 2 backers, and you get an associate producer credit and a one-on-one virtual Q&A with the director yourself. And then the Prime Legacy, which was $5,000, and then you get the physical signed movie poster, right? So with that in mind, and the executive producer film credit and the exclusive video calls. Yes. So gentlemen, with that in mind, let's say for argument's sake, you got a Blu-ray or maybe even a VHS, right? And I know, so this could be a winner, right? No one's going to protest a VHS and a copy of the movie poster, hard copy of the movie poster, right? What would you be willing to back for that? Right? There's other stuff in there, but what would you be willing to put towards a campaign for that?
And remember, every tier gave you the tier below it.
Yeah, correct.
So I think with that, the main question is, where would you start the DVD tier? Like, obviously, you're getting every tier below each tier you're going up on. So then it's like, well, where would you be willing to start that DVD tier yourself? Like, how much would you be willing to look at to try and start that at a lowest point? Because that's what people are going to be looking for, that lowest point where the DVD is. And then they'll make their decision upon that. Like, if you said to me, DVD starts at, say, $100, And I looked at it and I was like, oh, but what's below it as well? Like if there's like a couple of things I'm not interested in, would I be interested in that price? But then if you like your top tier one, you mentioned phone calls, but I think a lot more Transformers fans would be more happier with just like a voice message from someone like Peter Cullen or something like that, so that they could show their friends. You know what I mean? Because a phone call is sort of like a one-off thing unless you record it, but then you kind of need permission to do that and everything as well. But like an actual recorded message from these guys saying, you know, your personal name, I reckon that would bump it up as well. Then you look at that and go, yeah, that's cool. I can give that, you know, show my friends like, look, Optimus Prime's called me by name. How cool is that? You know, those type of things would really interest the people and the fans, I think, personally, rather than sort of a phone call. Whilst it would be great to talk to these people, it would be so much better to brag to your friends that they've left you a personal message. You know, you got bragging rights to think of as well when you come to these things, I think.
It's a good question.
That's a great idea. I would have to approach the celebrities, if they'd be willing to do that, because now you're talking, say 1,000 people pay for that. Now Peter Cullen's got to say 1,000 people's names.
Yes,
you know yes,
that could be a difficult, or it could be a generic name as well.
You know
it could
what?
just be, you know, Autobot or Decepticon. You could have two different ones.
You get the list, and you just get John Machida to read them out, right? Just like
all of them at once.
Good quiet.
Yeah.
A minute, right? 1,000 names. One. Just
you know what? I actually love that idea. I think I could figure out a way to streamline it to where, say, Machida, for example, would just give me one. It would take him just one message to record where he thanks you personally for being part of it. You know, as Blur. You know, like, oh, thank you for backing. But keep it generic, so he only has to do it once. But I can send it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Would something like that work? You think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, to me, that would be bragging rights. Like, look, I've got, you know, and like you say, these people aren't going to be around forever. And if you've got a recorded message, again, you can pass it on as well, like to your kids, and you know, you keep their voices around for even longer.
My God, can you imagine having Victor Caroli do it? Thank you for backing more than meets the boys. That'd be awesome.
I would like that. That would be awesome, eh?
Now back after these messages.
Yes.
You get Sam Bush to sing it, right?
No, the custom voice messages. I love that idea. I love that idea, and I think I could charge a premium for that. Like that could be like $100 tier.
I think people would be, and especially you know, like these people, like you say, they've impacted a lot of people's lives. So just to have them on your phone to listen to whenever you want and everything, and that, you know, bringing back those memories as well. Like I think it's a win-win scenario with that type of stuff.
Kind of reminds me of when Greg Berger sent me a video for the Kickstarter where he did Grimlock's voice, like something like that, where he's like, "Hi, I'm Greg Berger, and me, Grimlock." Like I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was awesome. When he said it was awesome. I actually took that and ran Facebook ads with that one. That's probably what you saw on there. But that I think. I know Greg would do that. I think Machida would do it. Neil Ross would probably do it. Caroli would probably do it. So I could probably have different tiers for the different level of star too. Like, you know, at $75 you get Machida, at $100 you get Greg Berger. You know, like something like that.
One of the things I was thinking for, and I was thinking about what I would pay, like for, you know, like a little care package with the poster and the DVD, and I'd probably invest like a significant amount. I'd probably invest the equivalent of a third-party figure, which could be a couple $100 to do it, right? But the thing that would probably get me over the line is this. And I don't know, again, if this is practical or within Kickstarter terms and conditions, but if at each of the higher tiers, let's say at $250, you get the full DVD, you get digital post, you get the signed poster or the physical poster and the other tiers, but you get the opportunity to win a signed Blur figure. right? Just one for that tier. And then all the backers that are on that tier go in with a chance to win a signed figure from one of their celebrities, right? And then at each level, like you said, you have different levels, different tiers. And at the top tiers, you got your Welkers and your Cullens if you can get them on board. And someone gets a chance to get a signed Optimus on it, right? That would be like nice cherry on top.
And that's a great idea. Hey, give me 2 seconds. I want to show you something. Give me 2 seconds.
We're a master.
Look at us. We've gone from talking about movies to high finance. Organising Kickstarters.
To films. It's been a heady journey for us. I don't know where we're going to.
That's the joy of it.
We do a TFCon panel next year. Right? We've got ideas, man.
So with those ideas, I was thinking ahead when I was there at BotCon, and I had, you're gonna love this. I had that thought. Here is a blur. You see it?
Yeah.
I have 4 of those that I'm going to be offering. I got 4 of them.
Because what would you in a conference, right? You'd pay a significant amount in the conference.
That's Neil Ross because he did Slag.
Yeah, go.
Another Neil Ross with all the characters he's played.
Yeah.
Springer, Neil Ross, and another Springer.
Yeah.
So I have 8 of these that they were willing to give me that I can offer up in reward tiers. And I was thinking of like using these for like a flash reward. Like, hey, if you do this tier right now, you get this copy. You know what I mean? Like, so I like that idea. I like that idea.
Go in for a chance at each tier. If you can get a chance to win it, right? Like that'd be awesome, right? You want more chances? Back more levels, right? And you might get someone that backs like 3 of the bottom levels, right? And they multiply their chances, right? It means it's an accessible investment. But if someone's got the means and the desire to invest more, they can back a level multiple times. Or, the Skybound Kickstarter was an interesting take on that because you can get the compendiums twice. One's in purple and one's in red, right? Dude, it's the same thing. Just got different covers.
Again, that's a great idea. Like if say I'm successful, right? And I talk to Greg Berger and get him to sign like 3 86 Grimlocks that I can have and put them up in special tiers. I think he would do it.
Yeah. And that way, they're not doing like you're not asking anything too extraneous from them, right? You're not asking them to sign 1,000 figures or do 1,000 voice messages. They're just doing a few to help get it out board, and that instantly draws more attention. And the thing with socials, with the collecting community too, is that you put that stuff out there, and then people are like, oh, I want that.
Yeah. Guys, this is great stuff. Like, I'm really leaning towards doing the voice messages.
Yeah.
With the different, I think that'll hit. And
Scotty, look at you.
I personally love the idea of it. Like, I would love to tell my friends, look at this, I've got Megatron.
Here's what you did is, whereas I'm thinking from a filmmaking perspective, you were thinking from a collector's perspective, and that's what I should have been doing.
Yeah,
so
and that's
going after. That's my key audience. So if there's a chance to get a collectible while backing the film, that's and then your idea of making it a drawing limits how much I have to spend to get the tier.
Yeah.
But it gives people the opportunity to get into a drawing to do it.
Dude, that will go up on walls, and people will love it. And that's probably one of the hardest things to do, is that when you're immersed in a profession, like my day job is a completely different profession, right? And I've been caught in the same trap multiple times. I'm like, this is all the things that I love and I think would be beneficial for my client base to have, right? And then you put it out there and you put all the work in there, and then it's like nothing, right? Because it's not what you want, it's what they want. It's not what your knowledge and experience is and what gets you excited, it's what gets them excited. And so when you build a project, you need to find ways to get them excited about it. And we're exploring this as well, even with this project. It's like we're having a lot of great discussions and great chats, but we also have to find ways to draw new people into the viewership so that we can expose them to the great discussions and chats we have. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So, yeah, approaching it from, and that's why I asked about the collecting community, because if you get involved in the collecting community and you get to test it and pull it and ask their opinions and stuff, and yeah, you'll get some junk stuff, but you'll also get people who'll go, I really like the sound of this project. I would really like to see this. And even if it's not a final idea, it's something that gets wheels turning, and you can really kind of make it in, bring it into real life. So, yeah, that's phenomenal. Yeah. Yeah, look at us.
Great ideas, guys. Seriously.
And if you get voice messages, Scotty's got to be there back because
I'll be there.
Bro, you get a free one for the idea.
Yeah. You can put them in the credits.
No, I don't need that. Just remember me. Pass my name down in legend.
Yeah.
Whispers beneath the wonders. Scotty.
Speak of me in hushed tones.
Yes. Maybe make a song up. Nothing too drastic.
I was going to say, minstrels will sing songs about you.
Yes. No, I'm not expecting much.
Yeah, he would love a shanty about it.
I would love a shanty about myself.
Gents, do you have questions for? Thank you for joining us, Frankenstein, and please do touch base with Todd. Put his link in there, and hopefully something comes out of it. But thank you for joining us, gents. Do you have any final questions for Todd before we start to? Before we do wrap this up.
I just want to say I think it's great what you're doing. Like, this is what needs to be done. We need to carry these voice actors on. And I think, particularly with cartoon voice actors and that, because we don't see them in the media a lot, we forget about them a lot. Like, other movie stars and that, you see them all the time. They're doing this, they're doing that, or whatever. But the voice actors are always sort of quietly there, and they get you through, times of cartoons and everything like that. But you don't really see them a lot, so it's nice to see the personal side of them, their side, like you say. They're human after all, and we don't often, because we don't see them, we don't often think of them like that. We sort of just think of them as actors that we've never seen or something. But no, yeah, I think it's great. I applaud you for it.
Thank you.
And they brought these characters to life for us. They made them real for us. The artist side, if you don't have the voice artists and them injecting that personality, and we polled quite a few Facebook groups, and it always stood out that the voices of the star screen, the voices of Jack, right? They brought such personality and humanity to it. That's what really stuck out to them. So,
and it's funny you mentioned those specific too, because those are two that are no longer with us.
Yeah, exactly. And in some ways, that's a reminder of the mortality of this. Stelios.
Well, Todd, I don't know if you, if there are any other series within Transformers, because obviously it is so generational and has constantly evolved or transformed over the years from one series to the next. Would you ever and this is, it could be just something you decide to do for the hell of it, or it could be, I'm assuming, based entirely on how successful this project is. Would you ever consider doing a similar film in this style about some of the casts of some of the other Transformers shows like Beast Wars or Transformers Prime was the big one for me. Would you ever consider doing those at all?
Yeah,
would you back it, Stelios?
I'd back it. Yeah.
I'd back the Beast Wars one as well. I would love that. Those, you know, their voices are just so iconic as well. Like, you'd go so well with that.
It was cool. At BotCon, I got to meet what's his name? The guy that was Megatron. I can't think of his name.
David Kaye.
That's it. Yeah.
Was it David Kaye?
David Kaye was Megatron in Beast Wars.
Yes. So who was Megatron in animated?
Gary Chalk, I think. Wasn't it? Didn't they? Was it because Gary Chalk and David Kaye voiced Optimus and Megatron in Beast Wars, and I think in animated they swapped.
Yeah. Susan Blue was talking about directing those shows when she was there. That was very cool.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, like this documentary, the way I look at it is, like I said, you know the story of why I'm doing it, but it could open doors to other things. Like one of the other YouTubers I was on with, I think it was Patriot Prime, was asking about this type of question, and I told him I'd be interested in seeing some of the craziest collections in the world. I think that would make a fascinating documentary. Like think of the toys that made us, but with actual collectors, not just people talking about the toys that they produce, but like I said, there's people who have collections that are just outrageous, and I would like to explore that. But there's also, the fandom in my generation would probably like to know about the voices of G.I. Joe or Thundercats, and like all these people who are that could no longer be with us. Like there are stories to be told, and Transformers could expand on that as far as like Beast Wars and animated and Prime. Like absolutely. But got to get the first one made first.
I like how you're jumping ahead to the whole series and stuff like that. I have a question for you, John.
Think about this. It could be a domino effect. Like if I'm successful with this and it turns out to be a really, really good documentary and Hasbro picks it up or Paramount, they may come to me and say, Todd, what other ideas do you have? And I pitch all this to them. I won't have to go through Kickstarter anymore. I quit my job and become a full-time documentary maker on these type of things. Think about the He-Man movie that just came out. Like if I was doing something like this with Masters of the Universe, like the timing's perfect. They're about to make a sequel to that, or the live action Voltron that they're making. Like these are all stories that need to be told that I think anyway that I'd be interested in. So there's opportunity.
The timing is there for your next round because the 1986 movie is coming out for a cinema release September 17th with that Easter egg scene that has caught a bit of interest as well. So I can see if you need to piggyback off that. Something.
I plan to be there with my cameras. So I'm going to get a lot of audience response for the movie for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Where were we? There was actually a post about that in the chat as well, where they say they'll be at the Frankenstein said he'll be at the front of the movie cinemas and like singing and cornering fans and stuff and telling them about his project and stuff. That would be great. Oh, here we go. Yeah. If I was ready to point out my movie right now, I'd go to the movie theater when it comes out and have a sing with a link. A sign. I was like, a sing? Yeah, go up for it. A sign with a link and promote the hell out of it. Yeah, 100%. Mate, I put your Facebook page in the post, and we will put it out when we do clips of this show as well. We'll
awesome.
Contribute to it. My last question for you as we wrap this up is you've done a lot of podcast interviews. You know a lot of YouTubers, right? And I like to ask this of people who've experienced that. How are we doing? Right? A little old Aussie Botcast. How was your experience? How did you enjoy it? And how we doing?
Hey, how we doing? I'm looking at the running clock right here. I can't believe it's been over 2 hours that we've been chatting. So I think that's a testament of how great this has gone. Like, we've had a great conversation here. You guys are asking awesome questions. Like, yeah, I'd love to come back and hang out with you guys sometime. But yeah, I think it was great. It was a great experience. And I thank you for having me on to reach your audiences there across the globe. Like, I wouldn't have had an opportunity to do so otherwise.
Well, you know, the thing about the Southern Hemisphere is that we may not have the numbers that they do on the other side of the world, but we've got some really dedicated fans, and we have to do so with the challenges of distance, right? So things really get supported out here, and you know, we're making more and more friends internationally as well, back on the other side of the planet. So we will definitely be sharing your story to them, and hopefully this goes some way to helping you get more backers. You know, at least you'll have 3 more interested people. 3 more interested people. So like it's got to start somewhere. So 3 more is pretty good. So we really appreciated that, and thanks for answering that question. I don't do it just for ego. I do it so that we can continue to learn and continue to drive this little project forward even more. Mr. Todd Douglas Bailey, we really appreciate you. We have got some wonderful shows coming up. Speaking of guests, next on the 9th of August, we're doing Transformers crossovers. So we're exploring the history of Transformers crossovers. I saw Ecto 1 in your background there, so that'll come up at some point, right? The wonderful crossovers that we've had right back to Star Wars and Transformers. That's going to be a panel show. And then on the 16th of August, we've got Tony Buchanan from Auto Update Newsletter, who is another passionate fan who revitalized the fan newsletter from, I believe, the 90s, and he keeps it going himself. He's relaunched it in the last few years. He releases editions every month. He does great acknowledgement of creative artists, fan art, you know, all sorts of stuff. He does a really amazing job, and I discovered him just recently. So I'm getting him on the show to talk about his experience with Transformers and the Auto Update Newsletter project. And then we've got 2 of our panel that also moonlight on the Toy Reel channel, another YouTube channel in Australia. And they went across to TF Nation, which is the UK's preeminent con. And yeah, they've had a great experience there. So we're gonna hear from them. And then at some point down the future, we'd love to check in with you and see how this is going. But we really appreciate you. If you're going to follow Todd, please go to TF Berserker on YouTube. I put his link into the chat. Please do like, subscribe, share this episode, Todd's project, and let's help bring the stories of these amazing people to light so that we can remember their stories and them as people for many, many generations, as long as there's Transformers fandom, and we can sing their songs alongside Buck Weasel's legends of wonderful ideas for Kickstarter projects around the campfire. Good night, guys, and good morning to you. We appreciate it.
Take care.